Welcome, Miami Community Newspapers. We're here with Grant. I'm sorry, that was an insult.
Okay,
Michael Miller.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is not a dumbed down Saturday.
All right.
And of course, Jeff Garcia, who joins me in the Man Cave every Tuesday from 10 to noon on 1210 The Man, 1210 a.m. We're here to talk about politics, sports, a lot of stuff going on. Jeff, on the Man Cave, and Michael, I really want your opinion on this, but on the Man Cave on Tuesday.
First of all, I thought we had a deal that we were only going to see each other once a week.
Well,
how did that get ruined?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my wife. It's been perfect. She set the rules.
Hey, don't give Rebecca any ideas, okay? Please. But we talked on Tuesday a couple things that I want to talk about. One was we talked about the city of Sweetwater, and apparently their commissioner, her name is Lacayo. I don't recall the first name. She was the first Nicaraguan American commissioner.
By the way, let's break this down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, I haven't been paying attention to this, but how did they not elect a Nicaraguan commissioner in Sweetwater before this? Because if you walk around Sweetwater,
There's a lot of Nicaraguans living there.
there are a lot of Nicaraguans there.
Yes.
And for a long time.
Yes.
I mean,
I guess they don't like one another. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just don't like one another. Nicaraguans.
well, I mean,
I don't know. But apparently, so she was the first
maybe
to.
they don't like one another.
Maybe they don't like one
How about that?
That's fascinating.
another. I don't know.
We just went through that about 30 minutes ago.
They
Yes.
don't like one another.
All right. So,
But she was elected, Michael. You'll love this. She was elected, first one, all this pomp and circumstance, first Nicaraguan American.
Really made
Turns
her
out
community
she
proud.
doesn't live in Sweetwater.
did she still have a home overseas? Is that
I don't know where her home was, but I know where it wasn't.
I know it wasn't, and that was Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater's been known for that for decades? All right. Other than a few other former state
Listen,
representatives.
it's
Right.
it's baked in Sweetwater, and Andy and I were talking about this. Sweetwater is a former carny town, and people don't realize that. And the back when they started the traveling carnivals, they used to make Sweetwater a resting place in between their travels, and so they would keep the animals there. There was an entire Russian village there because a lot of the carnival.
You think that's where it all started from? You think it's still going on? They're the ones that are attacking our system?
No, but it's baked in the ground. It's in the earth there. It's in the earth in Sweetwater.
So if it was a carny town, what did the whole town have body odor basically? I mean, as a dentist, you probably could make a lot of money there, I would imagine.
Hey,
Let me ask you a question. Andy. When you turn 16, right,
Yes.
and you start to develop a sense of how the world works, right,
Okay.
and you're at the youth fair, and you look over behind one of the rides, and you look at some of the dudes that built this thing. At what age were you when you said, "Ah, shit, man, I'm not getting on this thing. Those dudes aren't right. I'm not getting on this ride."
Yeah.
So
How old were
I
you?
think the best commercial for the fairs that go on there is to get to do a nighttime video after about 11:30 at night, all right, and go around and film what really goes on there after the public is gone.
Yeah, it's
That would be scary.
yeah, it's meth and incest. Those
Right,
are the
so-
running themes.
So let's bring up, if you will, next to Sweetwater, you move over a little bit. There's an area called Westchester, and then Kendall. Greater Kendall's 300,000 people.
Look at the pride in his eyes when he talks about when he says, and just west of theirs is Kendall and horse country, and he gets all excited.
Yeah, he does. He loves it. He loves it.
That's true. But let's talk about it. Is there going to be a move in Kendall to incorporate part of that? Do you hear anything about that?
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't either.
So out of all the areas,
Weren't you complaining the other day? I mean, you're so overexposed.
I was
You're on
complaining.
Facebook like 73 hours a week, right? And you're the most overexposed human being I've ever met. But weren't you complaining the other day that it takes like 12 minutes for a police officer to get to your house?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Were you laying the groundwork for incorporation?
Well,
What's your
son of a
ulterior
gun.
motive here?
Yeah, what's the motivation there? Local. All right, and that's what we like. So let's talk
Look
about
who's
some
trying to be
local.
the first mayor of Kendall.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's already that position's already being reserved for Well, I'm not
Well,
sure.
that
who it's gonna be.
Grant is going to get a cot and put it in an abandoned house somewhere in Kendall, so he could claim
Do
residence.
you know that
there.
Grant was almost the mayor of South Miami?
Yes.
Yes,
It was
because
good.
he lived here in this building at
He
the
did,
time.
right
Apparently.
underneath the press. Right? All right, let's talk about
In the great pantheon of elected officials in South Miami, how would Grant have? How would his legacy have been?
No. Grant would have been at the top of the list.
Yeah.
As hard as that is to believe, but that is a low bar. I mean, that is a bar that you could step over.
No,
very
Grant
easily.
would have been the Hisner of South Miami mayors.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking of that, what about our good friend Josh Liebman? Where are you, Josh, man? Does he help set the bar over there?
Listen, there's two issues, and if you want to talk South Miami, they've got two ballot initiatives. Josh Liebman championed two ballot initiatives that really will, I believe, change the complexion of South Miami. So now,
Whoa.
yeah, it won't be full of pimples. It'll be
Oh,
nice
okay.
and clear.
Okay.
That complexion. The first one is move the election from February, where it is now. I think it's the 1st or 2nd February, Tuesday in February, to the general election in November. It will save the city an estimated $120,000. It will increase the voter count threefold. They typically, in a typical election, they have about 2,100 people voting. This will have over 6,000, close to 7,000.
That's not threefold.
More-
That's interesting LaSalle math.
Yes, more than threefold.
That's actually fivefold.
No, 2 to 6, 7, about 3. But be that as it may, so it'll be more representative.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? It will
It's
change
awesome.
the complexion
Listen, I
of
think
the commission.
I think every municipal government should be voting in November. This idea that but it distracts, it takes away from us. No, it doesn't. That first of all, the way that most municipal folks get elected in the smaller municipalities is by going door to door. And they're still going to have to do that. They're just going to have to do it with a bigger group of people, which is the way it should be.
Right.
And
Yes.
Nothing against certain individuals, but this bicycle Bob stuff. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, the way they've been running this city is
South
just
Miami
nuts.
has been behind everything for 15 to 20 years. They've been behind, all right, with everything they're doing. Long after there were emails everywhere, this is 30 years ago, the city hadn't even gotten on computers yet. The mindset of this city is some of the people, we want to have our own elections so our items are on the top. And if we go to November elections, our item's going to be on the bottom. We still want to have this hometown feel. Are you kidding me? All right? The new people that live here, they want to have democracy. They want convenience. They want this stuff to roll. They don't want to be the old school. They want to be able to have a city that they're proud of, right? And one of the things that we can be proud of is this commission passed the zoning for the Shops of Sunset. Who knows what's going to happen there, because of COVID. The Winn-Dixie property, that's going to be terrific.
That Winn-Dixie property is never going to get developed. But go ahead.
Across the street from there, there's a new...
Why is that property not going to get developed?
Well, because in typical South Miami fashion, when they approved the plan with the developer, they put a caveat at the 23rd hour. They put a caveat, which was part of the deal was you can build, but you got to keep a grocery store at that location. So the caveat was if the grocery store isn't there and it goes away for whatever reason, and you're never going to get a lease more than 10 years for that type of a property, right?
Sure.
So if it goes away, then you have to put low-cost, affordable housing with luxury apartments upstairs. So the developer's not going to be able to get financing for that type of deal. The deal's never going to happen. And so... But again, it's South Miami why would you demand low-cost, affordable housing at that location with luxury apartments above it? Doesn't make sense. But it's another, and hopefully the election in November will cure it so you don't have people like Bicycle Bob. A guy with a name Bicycle Bob, generally, probably not a good idea to have him represent you.
I'll tell you, honestly, true story. I thought 20 years ago when they were explaining to me Bicycle Bob, I thought it was a joke. I thought it wasn't something to be taken seriously because I had been working on congressional races and U.S. Senate races at the time. I did Bob Butterworth's reelection for Attorney General, and you're having all these high-minded conversations and using technology for campaigns and all this stuff, speaking to your technology issues here in the city. And then somebody said, "No, seriously, you got to get Bob's endorsement because he rides around on his bicycle and hands out an endorsement sheet."
So one of the things that when Josh was first ran for office, Josh Liebman, that would have been 8+
And
years
was that
ago.
on the south side of Medellin?
Yes, yes, exactly. He pointed out, aptly so, that if you had 4-color brochures, flyers, that you were a bad person. All right, that's what Bicycle Bob did. He lowered that, which was if you have more than an 8.5 by 11
photocopy.
Photocopy 8.5 by 11, and you didn't go out on a bicycle, you were nothing. All right, we are still in the city here suffering from that mentality. Every year, though, there's more and more better.
Well, every municipal government should move to an election day at a minimum. That's in August, but definitely even easier in November. It would save millions of dollars countywide. It would save millions of dollars. If it's going to save a little city like this $125,000, $130,000, think of what it would save countywide. You're talking about $4 or $5 million, and you would have a much more participatory government.
That's a good word for you. Where'd you go to high school?
Actually, I only got my GED, but thanks for bringing that up. It was a real sore subject.
No problem.
Thanks.
But don't you
that was
think?
free.
Don't you think like Coral Gables has their election in April, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't you think it's just a way of sort of controlling,
of course,
who goes in and out of office?
Absolutely.
Who's your mayor? Who's your commission?
It is a system set up by those who are in the know and in the circle and in the loop, and it's and then eventually what happens is over a course of time, then it backfires, right? And then those people are upset that their own little racket gets.
So speaking about doing things that last a lifetime, 1926, the City of South Miami Commission passed an ordinance that said black people shall live on the east side of 62nd Avenue, and they named the streets. Almost 100 years later, that's still the core spot for blacks in South Miami. So when they set the stage for this is when the election is, it takes a long time for that to shift and to change like that. So maybe Coral Gables will be next.
Maybe.
Right?
So we'll see what happens.
Michael, what was it called before South Miami?
Larkins, I think.
Larkinville.
Larkinville.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, we'll see if that passes. The other issue that's on the, and this was all detailed in the Miami Herald, and what I thought was a kind
You
of...
were totally unimpressed with my stupid trivia.
Yeah.
You actually didn't even react. You were like, how much of this crap am I going to have to
Well,
put
that
up
is
with
not
today?
the first time that's happened.
No, it's not. No. And you hear this from me, and then you always just keep going like,
exactly.
This is Jeff with useless knowledge.
useless information. But so it was detailed in the Herald in kind of a weak article. The other ballot initiative is...
That was funny how you said details and Herald right back to back.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of an oxymoron. But the other issue is, believe it or not, the city of South Miami requires 5 out of 5 commissioner votes for a zoning or land use change.
That's absurd.
In some
It's
areas.
absurd.
In
some areas.
Yes.
That's
it was
absurd.
citywide until just a couple years ago. They changed it in the let's call it the downtown area, which is dying, and that's a whole nother subject. Okay, so 5 out of 5, which now on the ballot initiative, and again, Commissioner Josh Liebman championed this on the ballot. I'm surprised the commission approved to get this on the ballot, is to go to 4 out of 5 citywide. To explain why you think, Jeff, that 5 out of 5 is absurd.
Well, again, you're not talking about a representative government, right? It should, first of all, it should be 3 out of 5, right? Because you should have to we elect these folks in a democratic way, and then they should be participating in a democratic way through a majority rule. And it is absurd to say that you have to have unanimity on anything, right? That's not how we live. That's not how we conduct our businesses. It's not how, forget the rules. It's not how we govern our personal lives, right? Unanimity on everything. You have to have a complete consensus.
Even the way we elect the president with electoral college or anywhere, you get 50.1. You're in office, all right? It doesn't take 100% to do that.
The electoral college is actually the opposite. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not how we govern anything, right? And to say that that you're going to prevent any progress unless you have complete unanimity is just absurdity. And no other city does it. This doesn't exist anywhere else. And so,
don't you guys think it promotes corruption? I mean, theoretically, one commissioner could veto a project. He has veto power over a project and could be standing there with his hand out.
I don't think it promotes corruption. Here's what it does, though. It fosters people holding out so that they can get their way on other things, as opposed to bargaining and working with your colleagues to move projects forward. When you only have to get 3 out of 5, everybody's kind of standing there and saying, you know what, I'm not 100% for the Winn-Dixie project, but I'm going to work with them and maybe get a few restrictions or caveats or carve-outs, but move the project forward. But if one guy knows he can kill it, right,
exactly,
then he goes and he kills it. Or worse than that, he says, I'm going to kill this unless you trade with me for my park. Now you have this, it shuts everything down. It backfires and it goes backwards. And so it should be 3 out of 5. It shouldn't even be 4 out of 5.
Well, listen, kudos to Commissioner Josh Liebman for somehow getting the commission 3 votes on that commission on both these issues to get it on the ballot in November.
So one of the things that Josh did to get the commission to vote for it, he says the voters should decide, not us sitting up here, put it out to the voters and let them do that. I think he appealed to something that's not normally exhibited by these sometimes buffoons over there. So the voters are going to speak, all right, and that election's coming up in a month and a half, right, or 2 months. So can we move forward on the big talk about this thing called police defunding? And I know this is a term that people 3 or 4 months started using to describe somewhere between taking a little bit and eliminating the police department. What did the Rebecca Sosa and the county manager tell the people that said we want to defund the police? You know what he said? He said, this is not Chicago. All right? The commission passed on, I think it was the first hearing, we're going to fully fund the police. I think a mistake that some of these folks, when using that term, they pissed off a lot of people.
Okay, I'm going to jump in then.
Go ahead.
I think this is the most bullshit red herring thing I've ever heard in my life. Nobody is defunding the police.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and what if they interview a handful of radicals that say that, right, and then you try to extrapolate it to the rest of the people, the problem that we have is that in most situations when the police show up, they also have to serve as a psychiatrist, as guidance counselor, marriage counselor. They're not showing the police are not showing up to scenes of happiness and joy, right? They're not showing up at birthday parties and at Thanksgiving dinners. They're showing up at problem situations that have already gone south, and they're in many cases not equipped to deal with the sociological, with the psychological aspects that they're confronted with. And I think what people are saying is, can we shift some resources in policing so that they're better used, right? But I'm not going to subscribe to this defund the police thing, because this is a right-wing tool to try and create a schism between the rest of us who are just trying to get the right thing done.
Yeah, and let me just point out, I agree with him in that it changes, it's a way to change the narrative. The narrative should be maintained that we have racism in America, and some of that translates into policing. And, I'm a big believer that we have a lot of great police officers in America, in South Florida, Miami-Dade County, the areas you live. But there's a few bad apples. I do a radio show 5 days a week from 10 a.m. to noon
12:10
on 12:10 a.m., 12:10 The Man. If I do a bad radio show, it doesn't kill anybody. No one really gets hurt, okay? But if you have a bad apple police officer that's a racist, a lot of bad things could happen. And one of the things that I've been saying on the air, and I said just a few moments ago when we had Danielle Cohen-Higgins, who's running for county commission in District 8, is that the police union should take that ball, in my opinion, take that ball and run with it. And make sure that these bad police officers are not police officers anymore.
I'm not even I think, and I agree with you, Andy. But I think it goes even further than that, right? I watched that Kenosha tape, 100 times, like a lot of other people. I'm not even sure. I don't think that officer is a bad person. I think he panicked.
I do too.
And I don't think that that's a bad guy. I think he made a bad decision. And part of it is training and part of it is preparation. And let's use more of these dollars for better training and better preparation and creating scenarios, right? Because that guy, to me, looked like he panicked. And, I don't think that guy, was like, oh, I hate black people, or I hate this, or I hate that. That guy panicked. But
talking about defunding the police, should there have been? So you're saying you think maybe there should have been somebody else there that wasn't a police
or
officer.
Better training to start with. Like, if you spend 50 hours, and I'm just using a round number, teaching them how to shoot and how to target and how to this, man, you better have 150 hours teaching them how not to end up shooting somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, the game, the name of the game should be de-escalate every situation at all times until it's impossible not to, right? It should always be underreact. The training should be to underreact.
And I think this is the right conversation, not though where the money should come from to go fund these other programs. I think that is a huge mistake for these people that want all these other programs to say, and we want you to take the money from the police. We elect people, and there's a pot of money. So I think that the push could have been, hey, we have all these social programs that we think that are important. Maybe you guys can find some money to do that, right? Because when somebody says we want to defund the police, and I agree with you 100%, that's a term over there to get people crazy, all right? And when there's short terms like that, it sticks. And I think the O.J. Simpson trial was the one. If a glove doesn't fit, you gotta quit. Just do it, all right? How about fake news? Somebody developed that word like 4 or 5 years ago, and everybody says it. And that's to defund the police. Really annoys and makes
actually
a lot of
fake
people
news
nervous.
was created to be the exact the phrase was created to be the opposite of the way it's used now.
Which one?
Fake news.
Oh, so
when that term was generated, it was used to dispel pseudo websites and stuff like this, and then the president and other people decided to co-opt the word and turn it around to mean any story that they don't agree with. And so, but that's an interesting one because it was completely turned around on them.
And I'm proud of Rebecca Sosa, who said, listen, we are proud of our police, we're proud of our first responders, and we're going to fully fund this, and my hat's off to the commission.
I'm not proud of her.
All right.
I'm not proud of her for saying that.
Okay.
She is jumping on something that is a way to avoid having hard conversations about racial inequalities and systemic racism and having making tough decisions. And that's not, I see that when politicians do that, I don't see that as a moment of pride. I see it as a moment of cowardice.
Wow.
Let me
That's
ask you.
interesting.
Let me ask you a question, because we're talking about racism, and we all agree that it exists in our country, and it translates maybe to certain police officers. But do you think a bigger problem perhaps is the income disparity in our country? James DuBois is a gentleman who was recently released from prison after 37 years. New DNA evidence, the Innocence Project, helped get him released through new DNA evidence that proved that he did not commit a murder in Tampa, Florida. And after 37 years in jail, he got out. Okay? And I went online and I looked at other people that the Innocence Project has gotten out of jail. And an overwhelming majority of them were white Americans. Not black, but they were white. You mentioned O.J. Simpson a few minutes ago. O.J. Simpson, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think he committed a murder and got away with it. Okay? And he got away with it because he had a who's who of lawyers defending him that knew what the heck they were doing and how to get him out of that murder rap. So, the judicial system, which I view as a bigger problem even than policing in America. You have money, you get off. You don't have money, you spend time in jail.
So a friend of ours...
There are so many tiers of justice in this country.
Yes.
And people, until you get into the process, and until you're part of it, or unless you practice law in criminal defense, you have no idea. But I want to stop for a second and say, the least shocking thing in the world, Kristen Rosen Gonzalez likes Bicycle Bob. Least shocking thing in the world, most predictable thing in the world. Rainier, I just wanted to tell you, you're 3 comments away from being the top commenter and 8 comments away from being an official troll. And what else do we have here? I can't read it that clear. So I guess I need better glasses.
Kristen, Bicycle Bob is crazy. In case you don't know.
So all right. So here, I wanted to read.
And by the way, hi, Kristen.
I'm the closest. Rainier
Can you read that? I can't read it.
Yeah, defunding the police is a right-wing idea? Question mark. What a load of crap. How can he say that? Gaslight much? Question mark. Having fun, guys, but I have other things to do than to listen to this. Wait. But he has other things to do. And now come 4 more comments. So thanks for.
And no, I did not say it's a right-wing idea. Defending the police. I was started by defending the police, but apparently you were taking a break. Police officers walk into situations that are incredibly complicated. People don't realize that every time they show up on a call, it's a situation that has gone south, not a situation going well. And when they showed up at that scene in Kenosha, part of the problem is that they couldn't tell who were the agitators and who weren't, right? But they overreacted, right? And that's the point. They overreacted.
Well, clearly, yes.
They could have tackled that guy, but they overreacted and they shot the guy, whatever it was, 6, 7, 8 times. But I agree, when they show up to that scene, they don't know that he was trying to break apart a fight. But I get it. They don't know that when they show up, and so sometimes they come in a little hot, and we have to give them leeway. We have to give them some leeway for that.
It's different. It was 2 women fighting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which you're not expecting.
I always say when 2 women are fighting, just sit back and enjoy watching it, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
I know. Men like to watch the MMA. So let's get back to about people getting arrested and going to prison. A friend of ours, 15 years
Rainier, you're a good sport. I'm just teasing you, but you're a good sport, and thanks for watching.
So he gets arrested on a financial crime. And when we went to I was there when he got arrested. I went to the trial. It wasn't until I was at the trial that I realized if he did not have a good lawyer, he would have been found guilty, period. The judge before the trial said, if you are found guilty, you're going to prison for 2 years. The guy didn't do anything wrong, all right? When the jury found out that he was arrested on the eve of an election in which he was running, the whole tone changed. So it was a setup, all right? Did he do everything 100%?
You're talking about Horace's case.
Yes. You're talking about Horace Falou, obviously.
Yeah. So
that was a bullshit case and a half.
So when we asked the state attorney, why didn't you wait to see what happened to the check? Because the donor left it blank, and he was on the way to the Democratic Party to give it to him. They said, we were afraid he was going to destroy the evidence. Are you kidding me? That would have proven that with intent, or nothing would have happened. But when you're at the trial and you see what's going on, if you don't have a good lawyer, all right, and I hate to say it, and you're not white in this town, and you don't have a good lawyer, your odds of getting convicted are a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean,
period.
Look at this Epstein character, right? I mean, he was molesting young women.
He had to be outed like 1,000 times to finally get justice.
Right. I mean, it's incredible.
I mean, they let him walk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The guy got a slap on the wrist.
Right.
And then, people had to keep coming out, keep telling their stories. And by the way, that sucks for those people. You know how hard that is?
Yes.
And he would get out early in the morning, go by limousine to his office, his house, and then go back and spend the night. In the morning, he would go out again. And by the way, my compliments to Miami Herald folks on that great story that led to this coming out again. And there's a book written, and the Palm Beach Poach wrote it a while ago, but it needed that extra push. So
what was the reporter's name?
I forgot.
I'm drawing a blank.
Jane something.
Yeah.
All right, she wrote a book and good.
And she made a fortune on it.
Yes, and she was
good for her.
Yeah, she was the one that brought it forth. What else we got going?
What else we got going? Well, I was, and I know you're not a big sports buff.
Go ahead.
I know you
I'll take
are.
a break.
I know you are, but man, was I digging that Miami Heat game last night.
Dude, I did two laps around my apartment complex in the buff last night after that game. I mean, that's how jacked up I was. I mean, I was out of control last night.
Poor people in your apartment complex. That's all I have to say. But
listen, Jimmy Butler, we always compliment Jimmy
yes.
Butler. You know, we're like his we're like the president, vice president of his fan
But
club.
isn't it amazing? You know, because I know where you're going with it. Jimmy Butler's been playing great. Had 27 points last night.
But the attitude.
But isn't it amazing when you have a leader, and it transcends sports? It could be in a company, it could be in a nonprofit civic organization. When you have a leader, how well he can elevate everyone else around him. And Jimmy Butler has really done that with the Miami Heat. I mean, during the LeBron James years and the Dwayne Wade years, we never won the first 7 playoff games.
No, this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
But there, in fairness to previous playoffs, when you had to travel, that
Much
changes
different.
everything. Now, the tougher, better team can win right out because nobody's traveling.
Yeah, but no one thought we were the tougher, better team than Milwaukee.
You know what's funny? Jimmy Butler did.
Yeah, he
and
did.
he said it.
He did.
And he said, I fully expect to be in this, a long time. Like he thought the Eastern Conference Finals was like a given. In his head, that's how he thinks. And that's how his teammates think. And it's how Riley thinks, and it's how Spoelstra. You know what's interesting about it is that when they get the wrong guy, by character, it sticks out so much. Case in point,
Whiteside. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hassan
Whiteside.
It stuck out so much because you could just see it in his face and you could see it in Spoelstra's face. Like you would see it when they would talk and you'd say, these guys are not even talking to each other. They're talking past each other. Like they're not even close to being on the same page. And you see this now and you read the story this morning. It's fascinating. Even the role that Udonis Haslem was playing last night. Right? Here's a guy who I don't even know how old he is. I think we're the same age. I don't even know. But I think he's 48 years old. But
it's pretty old.
But he doesn't play.
No.
He does not play. There's no scenario where he gets on the court, right? And yet he was basically running the timeouts.
Right.
In the game.
Right, yes.
I mean, and
I don't know if you read about it, but when the players sat out that one game and they stopped playing to protest the Jacob Blake incident in Kenosha, they had a team meeting. They had a players-only meeting with all the players from all the teams. And apparently when Udonis Haslem stood up and spoke, it changed the whole sort of aura, the whole demeanor of the meeting. He really apparently put things in perspective and got them back on track. He's immensely respected amongst all NBA players and offers, because people said when he was on that roster, well, why do you have Udonis? He can't even really, for the most part, he's not an NBA player anymore.
Okay,
right?
Let's go on to Palmetto Bay.
Okay. He loves Palmetto Bay.
Wait a second. You failed to mention the number one thing about Udonis.
What?
What's that?
He's got a weed fall guy.
He does?
Yeah.
How's
When
that?
he gets pulled over, he's got a guy with him that says, "Oh, it's my weed." True story. He's got a guy that says, "Oh, that's my weed. I'm sorry, that's on me."
I like that.
Is that sort of like Michael Jordan's guy that carried all his extra cell phones
Yeah.
for all his affairs he was
Yeah,
having when he was an
absolutely.
NBA player? Yeah, one of those deals.
Palmetto Bay.
All right, Palmetto Bay. So
What's wrong with Palmetto Bay?
We love Palmetto Bay. So here's who we've had on.
We do?
Just today we had on Karen Cunningham. That was today. We've had on David Singer several times. We had Patrick Fiore and John Dubois. We're only missing Martha Matson. Where are you, Martha? You need to come aboard, so hurry up. All right, we've also interviewed Ed Silva, who's running for vice mayor. We have vice mayor candidate Al John. I know that's not quite his last name. And we've invited Leanne, who's also running. So, hey, guys and gals, it's time.
Who's running against who there? Leanne's running against Ed Silva?
Yes, and then this new young guy, Al John, something or other. So
Why are you saying it like that?
Like what?
Very flippant.
Something or another. What's the backstory?
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Okay, so this is your shortcoming.
Yeah,
Because you're making it
I have
sound like
a lot
it's
of them.
you're making it sound like it's an
First of all,
alias.
I got a short brother, like the Fall Guy. I have a very short brother. So
No, because
it says,
he was saying it like if the guy was shady. Al something or another, because I got
all right, I'll try to mispronounce it for you. All right, which I won't. Oh, there it is. Farquharson.
Farquharson.
Yeah.
Farquharson.
Al John
Farquharson.
Farquharson.
Yeah.
Palmetto Bay
Not
Vice Mayor.
Al John.
Good point. So I appreciate that.
Why they have elections going on now in Palmetto Bay?
They do in November. They're going to have two positions. One is for vice mayor, and the other one, David Singer, Steve Cody, who we know and adore.
Oh, Steve Cody is running?
Steve Cody is
didn't
running
know that.
against the
Steve Cody's running?
Yes. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, son of a gun. All right.
You know what Steve Cody's claim to fame is?
Of
What
course
is
I
it?
do. I know.
What is it?
Single member districts.
Yep.
That's right. He championed single-member districts. And it's interesting, too, because he championed that. And meanwhile, one of the candidates, René Diaz de la Portilla's whole platform during the primary was, this was meant for a Hispanic. Don't vote for the gringo. I'm voting for the Hispanic. Well, I know some Hispanics that were sort of offended by that.
And you bring up a really good point. In my own naive
Wait a
sort of
second.
way.
Wait, I got to break these things down when I hear them.
Okay.
Sort of offended. So, like, if you're offended, you're, like, pissed off. But they're just a little bit pissed off.
Sort of-
Just a little bit upset.
It's a nice way of saying they were offended.
Oh, okay.
So there's somebody who's had
Like
he's
being half pregnant.
trying to instill in me how people look and how I feel about what's going on as far as demographics and colors and races, and so I used to think
Colors.
that
I don't even
that
know.
if it was black people were running, that they should not run against each other. They should all get together and decide, you're going to be our black choice. All right. Then after a while, I realized, would we say that in the Anglo community? Would we say that in the Hispanic community? To your point, which is, no, man, you're gonna get out there and you're gonna run for the seat, and you hope that you win. In Palmetto Bay, there are going to be districts. Maybe it's going to be voted on.
They're going to vote. They're going to.
They're voting in November to have single-member districts. All right.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. 3 districts. All right. I'm not kidding.
This is crazy.
All right. Speaking of Steve Cody.
How many people live there?
5.
Okay.
I mean, why would you have single-member districts in a town this big?
All right. I'm telling you, I don't know how many. There's 42,000 people that live there. I don't know how many voters there are.
Oh, this is
all right.
great.
Correct me if I got
Hit
it
the
wrong.
north
All
against
right.
the south.
All right. So and there it's going to be. There's some that allow you from another area to vote on that district. From what I
Yeah, but
understand,
you just had Karen Cunningham
Yes.
on. Did she explain why they want
we
single-member
did.
districts?
There were so many subjects we never got to that.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that one.
No. So what's going to happen is if the voters have it, in 2 more years they'll vote on that. So people that live in District 3, I think it's 3, that they'll vote on the people that are there. Citywide will still be the mayor and the vice mayor. So it should be very interesting to see what happens there. Steve Cody, I don't think had anything to do with that, but I sure would like Steve.
Who's Steve running against?
David Singer.
He's running against David.
And David Singer just beats him to death. All right. It's just like, oh my goodness! And Steve, he strikes back. Steve's not afraid of anything.
But you say they beat him to death. In what venue? How are people doing this? Are there mail pieces? Are there ads?
No, Steve doing it. I'm sorry, David doing it against.
I know, but in what format? Like, do they run ads or how do they campaign there? It's all on Facebook. Everybody's a Facebook warrior.
Yeah.
I love Facebook warriors.
Yeah.
Hey, look, would Adonis be elected mayor of Miami after he retires?
That's a good
Probably.
question, George.
I like that, George. I
like
vote
that.
for him.
You know what, though? I heard he moved out of the city of Miami. I heard he lives in Broward now.
Really?
I don't know if that's accurate. I may have
Mr.
just made that up.
305.
I may have just made that up.
You probably did.
Did I just make that up?
You do often.
I do.
Yes.
Normally, though, you're better at it, Andy. You're at saying you made that up.
By the way, there's also another Michael Miller, not me, that always.
Yeah,
cues
I've
in
often
there.
wondered that.
All right, so some of it's just. It's also. Rainier, thanks for your.
He's asking Michael Miller, how many shows a week does Andy Korge have? One too many. Trust me.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe more than one too many. Maybe actually be several too many.
So again, Palmetto Bay. All right. So they have an election coming up down there. A couple of people are running. We wish all of them lots of good luck with that.
Do you really?
I do.
No, you don't.
No, you really
you don't.
I have my
Everyone
favorites.
says
No, you don't.
it.
I have my
People
favorites.
say that all the time.
No,
I
you
wish them all
don't.
good luck.
God.
No,
Okay.
you really
I
don't.
had my favorite was on this morning, but she's not running, so it doesn't matter. All right.
She's not running.
Right. I know. I brought that up in the beginning. She's got a couple more years to go before
Who's that?
Karen.
Cunningham.
Oh.
By the way, she got 65% plus against our good friend Gene Flynn, who was incumbent.
Oh, she beat Gene
Beat
Flynn.
By
him
the way,
to death.
and people don't realize how hard it is to get 65% in a small city like that, to get that kind of consensus in an election. I mean, that is
How long you been involved in politics, so that people know?
since '94.
Okay. So you speak from.
I'll tell you a story, though. I'll tell you a story.
So they must have hated Gene Flynn like poison.
Or she was very popular. Or a combo. It's probably somewhere in between. I'll tell you an interesting story, though. When I first volunteered on a political campaign, I did not know Andy Korge, but he was there that day. The first time I ever volunteered as a junior on a political campaign.
Which campaign was that?
It was at the Fussell picnic.
Oh my God, the Danny Fussell picnic. I used to love it.
Right?
Yes. At Tropical Park?
At Tropical.
Not at originally as a little kid.
Yes.
I would go to those picnics on Key Biscayne.
Yeah.
And my
Those
mom,
crowds were
were
legendary.
Oh man, the crowd would be unbelievable.
The crowds
But
were
can I
so
tell-
big for the picnic that this was before they had the new causeway going to Key Biscayne, that the causeway actually got shut down
Yes.
because 28,000 people came out to the picnic.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I want to tell you this quick story.
picnic's coming back.
So my dad.
The picnic's coming back.
By who?
Picnic's coming back.
Oh, listen to that.
That's breaking news.
Breaking news here on Miami Community
Labor Day
Newspapers
picnic
Facebook Live.
Coming back.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you this funny story. So I'm in college. I come down for Labor Day weekend, and I always worked at the Donnie Fussell picnic. My dad was alive at the time. He was very close friends with Dante Fussell. They knew each other from the Miami JCs back when they first came here after World War II. And I went, they were serving hot dogs and whatnot. And my dad, at the end, they had all these hot dogs left over. He says, well, take these 3 boxes of hot dogs back with you to the University of Florida. And, as a college student, you don't have a lot of money. We would go Friday nights to the Brown Derby, order 1 drink and go through the buffet line 12 times, okay, to eat, right? I ate.
Didn't I see you the other day doing that?
Something like that. I ate for 83 consecutive days.
A hot dog.
Nothing but hot dogs.
What? Let me ask you this. How
It should
old
have been
were-
a
no, no, How old were
documentary
you
made of
at
that.
your first angioplasty?
So
23.
I want to do a shout out to our people that we're going to be talking to this week. Rabbi Yossi Harlig from the Chabad of
It's got to be
Kendall.
horrible, Andy, to share microphones with us.
Right.
Because we go off on these things, and we
tangents.
love it, right?
We're the Grant Millers of this program.
but it's got to be horrible for the other person.
It has to be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Carrie Black, South Day Chamber. She's going to bring a guest with her, Manny Sarmiento from the Doral Chamber.
Oh yeah, I like Manny.
Oh, here we go. My wife does a show called Ask the Rabbi. Rabbi Levi Friedman. Misty Buck is going to be here on Monday. She has a social media maven. Mark Trowbridge from the Coral Gables Chamber.
Oh, Mark.
And then our good friend Kristen Rosa Gonzalez, and guests will be here on Wednesday. I know you're going to be back to do some things on
Thursday.
A couple days.
Yes.
So we've got a lot of stuff, and then we're looking for Jeff over here to find his time slot over there so he can bring in some folks.
But I want to ask you a question now. You got 2 rabbis. I don't see a priest in there. You're going to have to mix it up a little.
This joke will never work.
Right?
This joke will never work. I can tell you right now, this one's going to fall flat.
If I got a priest on here, would the first question be, how does the church rationalize hiding pedophilia for many, many years?
Yeah, that's going to go over well.
That'll
No,
go
that's
well.
way to open up. Way to really bring your guest in, develop some rapport, get their trust, and then go in for
Yeah,
the tough
you
one.
went through Jesuit schooling, right?
You went to Catholic schooling.
I went through Catholic schooling
and-
as well. Where were you at, Belen?
Yes.
Belen.
And you didn't go there.
And LaSalle. No, actually, someone was in the man cave with me the other day on 1210 The Man, 10 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. They were. Is that a shameless plug? Neil Rogers would be killing me right
What
now.
station was
Roy!
Roy. But they were telling me that Creighton, there was a lot of Cubans that went to Creighton University.
Myself being one of them.
You being one of them. Is that true?
Yes.
A lot
Yeah.
of Cubans?
Well, not a lot. It's a small number, but any number is a lot because it's it's a strange place to end up. But Creighton and Belen, they have a nice little pipeline going. They do it with a bunch of the Jesuit schools. They try and keep us in the system.
I remember in the 70s, I was traveling through Georgia and someone asked me what a Cuban looked like.
Yeah. And you said like me. You said
Pretty much.
bizarrely.
Yes,
bizarrely.
bizarrely.
They look just
They look like Lebanese
a Lebanese
people.
guy.
Yes, exactly.
But
Exactly.
But I went,
Exactly.
I went to Creighton because I was on my way to Stanford, and actually I ran out of money and my car broke down about halfway.
Yes.
And so I stayed in Omaha and enrolled there. But I was actually on my way to Stanford.
Yeah, that's the story you keep telling.
You
right?
like that?
Yes.
Why don't we say hi to some of the people?
Yeah, let
that
me
checked
say
in?
hi to Kenny Ruiz, my old JC buddy. Nick Augusti is in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, watching. Charlie Kababi talking about Lebanese people. My fellow Lebanese man there. My son Kevin watching up in Orlando, where he's going to grad school. Tomas Martinez,
Your
radio
son?
guy.
Your
My
son's
son-
going to grad school?
Yes, he is.
Thank goodness.
Max Martin, the private eye. I hope he's not trying to get me on some sort of offense I did, and that's why he's watching. Nasser Sophia, my St. Jude buddy, he's watching. Neil Richardson, Marisol Alonso. Marisol, thanks for watching. Kim Newland, another former JC. And hey, how about this?
I don't know one of your friends.
You don't know one of them? Kim Newland was a JC, Mr. JC. Rolando Cotto, LaSalle guy, man. We got the LaSalle contingent.
Okay.
Anyone from Belen watching? Probably not.
Okay. Renee Gim, who works at Casino Miami, thank you for checking in, Renee. And by the way, folks, go
True
down.
or not true? Is Francis Suarez now your most famous alum?
Listen, he at least is up here. We had Carlos Alvarez. It was a LaSalle.
Whoa.
Did you know that?
No.
I probably shouldn't have shared that. with you.
I'm using that against you now for a
By the
decade.
way,
For a
by the way,
decade.
I think Francis went out of town. I saw him for the first time in about 2 weeks on TV the
Really?
other day. I think he saw.
He did go out of town.
All right. Oh, he did. All right.
It's called a vacation.
What?
You know, people are allowed
It's
to take
called a
them.
vacation.
I thought, you
What?
just did that thing again.
What?
He hasn't been
What
on a
thing?
vacation.
Where he
in
does
years.
that, he says something and it just leaves it out there like a dangling participle, like if it's shady. I think he went out of town.
Okay. I go.
I finally saw him. I spotted him.
Okay, I go fishing
Yeah, it
all the
is
time.
called a
I understand how
vacation.
that works.
Yes.
Okay, so go to Casino Miami. All right, Renee works there. All right, let's see.
Oh, I
Soprano-
love Casino Miami.
Yes,
I love it there.
Oh yes, they sure do.
I think they're our only advertiser.
No, they are back.
I know
on-
that's a
at
truth.
12:10 a.m. The
They
man.
are- no, they're back on
12:10 a.m. The man.
The man. They're reopened now, and it is a fun place. If you've been down there recently, great card room. Love the highlight. Great place. Love it.
Soprano Basu, who worked for the city of South Miami for years and went to the county.
John Brunetti.
And
once
then he volunteered in the Peace Corps. All right.
Who?
This Soprano Basu. He's a great artist. You can
There's a
find him
100%
online.
chance
Max
you're butchering
Gross,
that
Rick
pronunciation.
St. Pete, Fred Frost, and then
Fred Frost?
Phil
I finally
Frost?
know somebody on this thing.
yeah, Fred Frost.
Fred
right there.
Frost is my friend.
Christine
Hey, Fred, how you
Rosa
doing, buddy?
Gonzalez, who I saw this morning.
Who
on,
did you see this morning?
Christine. All right, and not in person, but on Facebook Live, she was promoting some thing on the beach where I actually. You need to play it again, but I did. I was happy to watch it. It was about fighting for development.
I'm going to tell you a
or
true
lack of
story since you're
development.
talking about Casino Miami. And you love these old stories,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
And and I can tell the story now because the guy who said it is deceased. So I'm talking to John Brunetti, who was a character. Okay, did you know John?
Yes.
Okay, character,
Highly a racetrack.
Hialeah Racetrack, and he owned Hialeah Racetrack, and they got a license to do quarter horses, but they hadn't opened yet. And if you had been over to the property, there were like wolves. And I'm not exaggerating. There were wolves running around there, and
Wolves,
I don't know. There were some kind of crazy animals
Foxes.
running around.
foxes,
And
coyotes.
There were coyotes because they brought in the coyotes to get rid of the foxes. And
Political
this-
consultants.
political consultants. Clearly, I was there.
Those are sharks. Those are known as sharks.
So I said to we're at the property, and I said to him, "Man, this kind of looks like it needs a lot of work, right? I mean, the place was totally overrun." And he said, "No, it's not that hard. Look, first of all, I'm only going to open this building and that building. But I'm not going to open the whole thing. The renovation will take a while. Look, you'd be surprised. Some landscaping, some new machines, hookers, and this place will be back running in no time." He wasn't kidding.
But he just threw in hookers.
He
in the middle
said
of the
hookers
line?
like it was saying, "Let's get lunch."
Right.
True story. He said that.
All right, guys, we got.
So are there hookers there now?
I don't know. I haven't been there forever, and he's deceased, and I don't know what goes on over there.
We have 2 minutes left because our producer Tommy is headed off.
No, we're good. No, this is a
Tommy, you're
marathon.
standing around all
No,
day.
we're
Sorry, buddy.
this is a marathon one.
what he could do is he could just turn it off and we could sit here for another 2 hours and it would be perfect.
And annoy people. Gary Allen's watching. Gary, thanks for watching.
Oh, that's terrific. All right, so let's get it wrapped up. You're next, and then since what's his name over here is in charge with the beard?
What's his name? Out of town. I spotted him.
Right.
What the hell is going on here?
I don't know.
I yield my time to the good gentleman, Andy Korge.
Well, listen, tomorrow night I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be watching the Miami Heat sweep
Absolutely.
in 4.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that. I enjoyed this, man. I always enjoy when I'm talking what's going on in South Florida with you two guys. Michael Miller, thank you.
I'll sign off with, I said, I'm going to be watching the game. We'll probably be texting each other right
Yes,
before.
I'm sure we will.
And then I heard, and this is great news, right? And I want to say something positive. I heard that Pig Floyd down south sold out last night. Probably going to sell out tonight. Good for them. Small business, making a good run at it. And congratulations to everybody involved with Pig Floyd. I'm happy to see some things get back. I hope everybody's being safe because I know if they're selling out, they're probably way packed. But congratulations to them on a strong open and doing well.
Yeah, and I hope all the restaurants in South Florida are doing well. I know it's been a tough time, but now they're opened at 50% capacity.
I made a commitment when this started to eat for 2. And I've been holding up my bargain, and I've been ordering.
You can see that.
Thank you. And I've been eating for 2. I'm not overweight. I'm supporting my community.
But can I just say one thing before we leave, which is, and on a serious note, we're here at Labor Day weekend. We saw a spike in coronavirus cases after Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, be safe,
And
people.
after the 4th of July holiday. Yeah,
Be safe.
Be safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Stay distance from people, social distancing, and try to be safe this weekend. We don't need to spread this horrible virus any worse than it's already been spread.
Super. That's all,
guys.
for me.
And I know you're doing your part. You're showering twice a week now.
Yeah, I'm up to twice. No,
So
up to
you're
3 times a week.
holding your end of the bargain.
I'm doing
and
it,
being
yeah.
a good citizen. Good for you,
I am.
Andy.
I am. Thank you.
Michael, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm glad we have all this between us. All right. So,
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for conning me into this, and I look forward to not doing this again.
Take care. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon right here on Facebook Live.